If you've ever found yourself pouring fertilizer into your garden and still watching your plants struggle, there's a good reason, and it's not your fault. Fertilizers may feed plants directly, but they do little to feed the living soil beneath them. Over time, the biology that drives fertility collapses, leaving you dependent on ever stronger chemical inputs just to maintain yields. But here's the truth serious gardeners are waking up to. Your soil already contains everything your plants need. The key lies in the invisible workforce of microbes and the single food that allows them to replace fertilizer entirely. That food is molasses. When used correctly, it turns dead soil into a living nutrient engine capable of sustaining plants season after season. Microbes, not minerals, are the real source of lasting fertility. The foundation of all soil fertility lies in biology, not chemistry. Every teaspoon of healthy soil contains billions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes, protozoa, and nematodes, all performing a complex dance of nutrient exchange. Microbes break down organic matter, unlock minerals trapped in the soil, fix atmospheric nitrogen, and form symbiotic partnerships with roots to deliver nutrients plants can actually use. When these microbes are active, your soil becomes self-fertilizing. But here's the problem. Most modern soils are starving. Chemical fertilizers, tilling, and drought strip away the natural carbon food sources microbes depend on. Without a carbon source, microbial populations crash, and the nutrient cycle breaks down. You can add all the NPK you want, but without living biology to process it, much of it just washes away. That's where molasses steps in. It's the simplest, most effective carbon fuel you can give to soil microbes. Molasses acts as microbial fuel, reviving the soil food web. Molasses is more than sugar. It's a dense natural syrup loaded with trace minerals, iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and most importantly, simple sugars like sucrose and glucose. These sugars are microbial rocket fuel. When added to soil or compost teas, they provide an immediate energy source that microbes use to multiply rapidly. Think of it this way. Compost provides the house. Molasses turns on the lights. Without it, microbial activity runs low and decomposition slows to a crawl. With it, the soil food web reignites. Beneficial bacteria bloom, fungi spread their hyphae through the soil, and nutrient cycling begins again. The result is a system where microbes do the work of fertilizers, mineralizing nutrients, improving structure, and supporting root health. I've seen this transformation firsthand in soils that hadn't produced a healthy crop in years. After a single month of molasses-based microbial feeding, organic matter increased, plant color deepened, and soil structure went from clumpy dust to rich, crumbly humus. The key to replacing fertilizer lies in the correct molasses-to-water ratio. Molasses is powerful, but it must be used in balance. Too much sugar without enough oxygen can cause anaerobic conditions, which harm roots and beneficial microbes. For most garden applications, the right concentration is 1 tablespoon of unsulfured molasses per 4 litres of water. Always use non-chlorinated water. Chlorine kills microbes instantly. You can apply this in 3 main ways: as a soil drench, a compost activator, or a microbial brew. For soil drenching, mix 1 tablespoon of molasses in 4 litres of water and pour evenly across 1 to 2 square metres of soil once every 2 weeks during the growing season. The sugars will feed the microbial community already in the soil, helping them unlock nutrients tied up in organic matter. For compost activation, dissolve 4 tablespoons of molasses in 10 litres of water and sprinkle it over your compost pile. It will accelerate decomposition, increase heat, and produce humus that's richer in microbial life. For microbial teas, combine 10 litres of water, 2 cups of mature compost, and 2 tablespoons of molasses. Aerate the mixture with an aquarium pump for 24 hours. The bubbling provides oxygen, while the molasses fuels microbial growth. After brewing, apply this tea directly to your soil or as a foliar spray to stimulate nutrient cycling and disease resistance. Why molasses-fed microbes outperform synthetic fertilizers. When you feed microbes instead of plants, you create a self-sustaining nutrient loop. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, which deliver nutrients in quick soluble bursts, microbes release nutrients gradually in response to plant signals. Fungi transport phosphorus and micronutrients directly to roots, while bacteria fix nitrogen from the air. The soil becomes biologically active, retaining nutrients instead of leaching them away. There's another advantage too: microbial metabolites. These are organic compounds produced during decomposition and fermentation that act like natural growth hormones for plants. They strengthen cell walls, improve chlorophyll content, and trigger systemic resistance to disease. You can't buy these compounds in a fertilizer bag. They only exist in living, active soil. In my own tests, molasses-fed microbial soil consistently produced higher yields than plots treated with commercial fertilizer. Leaf colour improved noticeably, and plants showed increased drought tolerance thanks to enhanced root depth and soil moisture retention. Real results come when you combine molasses with organic matter. Molasses on its own feeds microbes, but pairing it with organic matter multiplies the effect. Compost, mulch, or cover crops provide the raw materials microbes need to build long-term soil fertility. The molasses simply gives them the energy boost to work faster. In one bed I revived, I layered 2 centimetres of mature compost, watered it with a molasses solution, 1 tablespoon per 4 litres, and mulched with chopped leaves. Within 3 weeks, earthworm activity tripled, and the soil colour deepened from grey-brown to almost black. It smelled alive again, rich, damp, and full of microbial life. This combination transforms how soil functions. Instead of feeding plants directly, you create a living ecosystem that self-regulates, making fertilizer obsolete. Once the microbial loop stabilizes, nutrient inputs drop to nearly zero. The long-term reward is a garden that feeds itself. When you consistently feed microbes, rather than relying on fertilizers, your soil begins to evolve. Structure improves naturally. Microbial glues like polysaccharides bind particles into stable aggregates that resist erosion. Moisture retention increases. Roots penetrate deeper, drawing from a wider nutrient base. Over time, the soil becomes a self-fertilizing system that only needs occasional organic matter and a splash of molasses to stay balanced. This is what we mean at Hydrohaven when we talk about living soil. It's a system that outperforms fertilizers not through intensity, but through balance and biology. Once you experience the difference, you'll never look at store-bought fertilizer the same way again. If this guide gave you practical insight into how microbes can replace fertilizers with just one simple food, take a moment to subscribe to Hydrohaven for more science-based soil-building guides. Share this video with a fellow grower who's serious about long-term soil health. The future of gardening isn't chemical, it's biological. Feed the microbes and they'll feed your plants better than any fertilizer ever could.